enter with 5 passes in WASP with minimum of 6 in English and Maths to be accepted into a college, IFAM, FEC, etc. And then when you graduate, you can become a teacher. Like I said, it has not gotten to the point in Sierra Leone as yet when you have to have a license to become a teacher. Any and everybody can teach at that now. But we are hoping for that day when you would have a license to teach. So some people, however, and if they do not have a teacher certificate or a teaching certificate, they can have a postgraduate diploma in education. That is done at the Institute of Education at College, Department of Education. You can add that to your degree and then you become a qualified teacher. But what we have now, we see that not many people have a certificate or a diploma to teach, a teaching qualification. And we're looking forward to, like I said, to having a license after that for you to start a teaching career because it is a profession.
Thank you very much. Now, put your hands together. We want to move quickly for our next panelist, architect, please, guys, what's the question?
Good. Wonderful. I want to ask who and who wants to be an architect. And so you have understood what it means, and then whether you get a qualification. But at least, I think among us here, we seemingly have maybe the youngest department in the Faculty of Engineering, because it just started about 4 or 2 years ago, probably college. So we just are in one university or one college. And the entry requirements are for you to be able to have 5 WASP passes in not more than 2 sittings. You're also supposed to have a minimum pass of E6 in English plus E5 in any of the 3 categories that I'm about to list. The first category is either further maths, English, or physics. The second category is either chemistry or core science. Then the last one is either technical drawing, engineering science, biology, economics, geography, or agric science. Just to help also these qualifications, I just want to indicate that architecture is creativity. Okay? It's an art and a science. It's not just a rigid 1 + 1 = 2 or a play of what your emotions express. So you must also be able to find from within yourself whether you have that ability. Okay, if you are not that type and you have all the qualifications and you enter there, you stifle when you start practicing, because it will call for your creativity. It's not so much a software program. Before a software comes in, there must be that ability for you to put spaces together and make provision for human needs. Okay, so aside this qualification, you need to be able to come up with that. In current times, as I interacted with the department, I noticed that it's only in the sciences that they have enrolled people. But in recent times, they are opening up. We want the arts people as well. But architecture is an expression of your emotions, an expression of your spirit, and you should be able to flow with your fingers. Okay, so either in the art, and very soon there's going to be the fine art inclusion, okay, as I discussed with them. Currently, it's just in a few of the areas in science, but then it's going to include art, it's going to include even the general and then the visual art, I mean. And I believe that will open up a little more for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, architect. Let's please go ahead and answer the question.
Okay. A fashion designer, you almost know it. Someone who shapes his creativity. You must first of all conceive the idea, you form the sketch, and you find suitable material to make it a reality. For Sierra Leone, it is both an a formal and informal sector. By that I mean you can operate in the fashion industry alone, whether you have been to formal schooling or not. It is only on quite recently that government policies have been directed to increase the activities of vocational and technical institutes. So it is only on quite recently that you now have a lot of people want to do fashion, to make clothes, make bags, footwear, etc. But for now, we only have a very few formal institutions that you can be trained. We hope that it will change in the very near future. But it is important for you to know that you have to blend creativity, colors, fabric, style, and so your intelligent quotient has to be very high. For me, I succeeded because I went through formal school. I have a BSc in economics, and I want a lot of mathematics. So that is why you have to think geometry, chords, different types of shapes. So it is important that you go through formal schooling. For other West African countries and even in Europe, you cannot be a dropout if you want to be a fashion designer. You have a lot of universities, and you can even go to PhD. You have engineering, clothing engineers in many, many other countries. But we are progressing, and we know we make progress very fast because with the new attention that is being paid to technical and vocational skills, I believe policies are being put in place to increase participation and to achieve excellence in the industry. But for now, I can advise you, make sure you finish your formal schooling. You need to do measurements, you need to make notes, you need to write reports. There are many, many opportunities and career pathways as a fashion designer. It's not just making clothes as people normally perceive it to be. You can be a fashion illustrator, you can be a fashion photographer, a fashion magazine editor. There are many, many opportunities. But for now, just make sure you have at least a very good work result.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let's start moving directly to Sandy. Please respond to the question in 2 minutes. What is the entry requirement to enroll in civil service?
Thank you very much. To work in civil service is a very broad area. So the civil service, you want to be in civil service, that you can be in any of or small, and I want to give you the more. But I think the basic requirements of the civil service have three, preferably three. There are some that started at lower level diplomas, then we progress. But I will just start with. And also, you should from this concept where you are now, think about what is the passion. So, what is the passion? What do you want to see change? How do you want to see things happen? Then you can choose which of the channels you want to enter, or which of the departments in the civil service. The civil service actually grow. So I have just how many minutes? 2 minutes. So if I time myself in these 2 minutes, it's 2:03, I think I've done 1 minute to 2:05. So you should have a basic 5 words to enter. But if you want to be like my own passion, I want to see change in the economy. I want to see innovative way of addressing problems. So I decided to choose entering in the macro world. So I'm a macroeconomist by training. I started as an accountant.
So so that the thing about the civil service, you can know a lot of things. So currently, as a civil servant, you actually can cover all of the sectors in the economy. So in the Ministry of Financial Finance, we do plan across the entire economy. So we are actually like the leader. So if you want to be a leader, you want to be a problem solver, national level, then you have to be. Okay, so that is the basic requirement. And right here, and I have to mention one important point. The civil service is not only national. Okay, so you can be part of the international civil service. So the UN that you are seeing, United Nations, for example, international civil service. The World Bank and IMF, thank God, I worked for both of them as well. So you can also not only say, in fact, you want to go and work for UN, you want to work for the World Bank, IMF. You'll be more competitive if you have solved the problems in your country. Not only, okay, it's good if you have high PhDs and like, but they want people who have solved problems on the ground. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Put your hands together. We are going to move to the next set of questions. And just like the same time, for just 2 minutes, this will explain areas of specialties and opportunities. Areas of opportunities that, okay, my area of I'll call it my own area of dominance of skill. It's in accounting and economics, but currently it's really macroeconomics. Macroeconomics means how you are managing the finances of entire company. Okay? So what you need is really, if you want to be really competitive, you have to have an international strength. Okay? If you have an international strength backed by local strength, okay? When I say local strength, if you be able to think for your country and you should be able to solve problems for your country. I'll give you an example, for instance. When the Ebola struck, I remember I was not in the local public service, I was national public service, which was the IMF. The IMF serving when Ebola struck, I'm telling you at that time, even the Minister of Health or how to respond to it. And the way it affected Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea. All of these 3 countries have never experienced that type of problem and how to respond by our panic. So it was our own work to solve the problem. So the first thing, for instance, that I thought about it, I developed a strategy how to respond to it. At that time, then how to respond to it. So if you have that skill, then when it's now to COVID-19 pandemic, I was within government. So the tool that we use to address the epidemic of Ebola was easy than by. So that makes you more competitive. So really, the civil service is real hands-on problem solving. We are hands-on problem solving. Mr. Sandy, the question is the areas of specialization. The opportunity. So you can start an economist, or you can be an accountant, you can open a department, or you can be a lawyer like my sister who works at the state prosecutor, or you can be an architect, then you can work in the Ministry of Works or the Ministry of Lands. You can also be a teacher, then you can work in any of the schools or a lecturer. Okay, you can be in the Ministry of Tourism, for instance. Tourism, you can do a lot of things that attract tourists, like my sister who is a fashion designer. You can also be a medical doctor, you can work in the Ministry of Health. You can do public health. Public health is also another good option. Because public health, and I think most medical doctors, after doing their medical doctor field, they also come down to do public health. Because that is where you deliver, how you plan. Or you can also do some practice sports. So the civil service really, we are almost everywhere. And currently, you can also be specialized in the environment. We specialize in the environment, do some certificates for sustainable development, how to respond to changes in the environment, and how to respond to the traffic. So you can just name it. The civil service is actually an entry point for almost everything. And for those of you who want to be leaders, you cannot you cannot aspire to be a diplomat. You can work in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, okay? Or you can also be a leader, example, serving as a president. So you can also train for that. So there are a lot of entry points that you can choose to be. So I don't know who wants to escape the civil service. If you want to escape the civil service. So if you look at it, really they are almost every open door for you to serve in the public service.
Thank you very much, sir. So in summary, there are a lot of opportunity in the civil service. So it's an option that you can prayerfully consider. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am, we want to move to you. Please just tell us the area of specialization and opportunities and the fashion. Thank you very much.
As a fashion designer, you can be both in the public and the private sector. And for the private sector, you can be in the formal and the informal. There are many opportunities as a fashion designer. You can first start as you can be a lecturer. Presently, we have the Bachelor of Science in Clothing and Textile being offered at the university. And you can be a lecturer, but it depends on the level of education that you have achieved as a fashion designer. Most beginners start with certificate, go to diploma, then you get a degree. But that will determine how you will perform in the industry. You can get a garment maker, like what we all have on. We all have on clothes. You can be a footwear designer. I'm sure some of the guys here, they're anxious and want to wear Jordan. But if somebody thinks of the design and comes up with something creative and attractive, you can be a footwear designer, a jewelry designer. You can be a millionaire. That the people who make art, who make things that you use to cover your head. You can be a fashion merchandiser. For the very big industries, they're going to a lot of sales and marketing. And you need very skilled people to capture the market with visuals and a lot of other things. And you can be a fashion illustrator. You can do it by sketching, or you can do it by using the computer. You have now what they know as computer-aided designs to design clothes. Whatever you think of, you can use the computer to design it. And that is what you will be paid for. So as much as the knowledge that you have acquired, that will determine how excellent and how far you will go in the industry. So just stretch, go as far. We want many more people to come into the industry because of change, because we are the drivers of the economy, the middle level manpower. That is what we need to develop the economy. And that is where you have a lot of people. So we need very skilled people to operate in that level. So I encourage you to go as far as you want to. There are many opportunities.
Thank you very much. Now put your hands together. We can give the opportunity to architect to answer the question.
Yeah, very quick one. Architecture is actually the ability to conceptualize, the ability to imagine and create things in your head. That makes provision for what spaces people need. Okay, so if somebody wants somewhere to sleep, you will have to organize that in your head and try and put it together so they can get somewhere to sleep and how the spaces relate to themselves. If somebody wants a place to want to work, you need to connect spaces and how those work activities interrelate. Okay, so in the first place, the various areas of specialization depend a lot on the need of the market. Okay, if there aren't needs for factories, you won't have people designing factories until there's that need. So there's so much already out there, a few of them, and then also let you know which ones are more opportune in Sierra Leone. Okay, let me start with the normal one we know, the residential building. Okay, in architecture, a lot of what we focus on as need is where we want to sleep, where we want to rest, where we want to kind of raise family. Okay, so the residentials are one of the areas. We have commercial areas where you want to do business. Okay, so places like here, the dining hall or assembly hall is for some amount of business, raising people in a school or having to organize places where people can eat. It's commercial. Then we have areas where, because of architecture being an art, okay, it calls on the need for places where you want to express beauty. Okay, you want to have aesthetics. Aesthetics are places and areas where people like to be there and they enjoy being there. So you can have theme parks where there are various. I think Aberdeen Road, that runabout, that's a very nice place that has a lot of things. Okay, it's a design idea that somebody brought up because it pulls people together and helps them to exercise and to relate to each other and all of that. So architecture is actually the ability to meet people's needs. Okay, so that landscape architecture or landscape design is one area people who do architecture go into, and by that they are able to design places where people can even get healing, have palliative and respite areas where the greens and the design with flowers and walkways and things are able to have a soothing effect on people's medical conditions. Okay. Then we have the interior design when we come into the building or space where people use. We then also design it such that it meets the need of that space that is needed. Then we have a much wider area called the urban design. Urban design is when you have a big area or big land and you need to organize how people will live in that area. So if there we have different things like residential areas, civic areas where we have the offices, where people live and they work and they recreate. So we have play areas, we have maybe markets, we have lorry stations that help people's activities and livelihood to thrive. So urban design is one other big area that you can go into if you enter into architecture. And that one doesn't have to do with just one building, like a residential or a commercial, but it combines different buildings. So it's more a design to either segregate places. So if you have an urban design architect, he will be thinking if this whole maybe Freetown, if we want to move into Freetown, how do we get in there? We can fly, we can be on the road, or we can be on the sea. Okay, so if they're flying, there must be an airport. When we enter the house, we move within that area. There must be roads. They build roads or they design roads in between the roads where people live and work and engage themselves. So urban design is a much wider one, which we don't do too much in Sierra Leone, but then in the not so distant future, it is something that creates opportunity. Once there's not enough of a need being met, there's big opportunity. Okay, if maybe people don't have phones, but they don't have ways of communicating, you find opportunity because once you provide a phone, you can make it because everybody will be buying your phone, but they need communication. Okay, so in a way, when you are able to find the level at which a place is, you are able to find the various rules that the place must have so that they can do well, and then you enter into that. Then the last one is the green architecture. That one has to do more with sustainable architecture, where now we go into very natural use of materials so that we also can respond to the ecosystem. We don't just move things and bring concrete and steel and come and put it in a place. But these are ways in which we are able to open up the profession so that depending on the need, you are able to have a lot more opportunity. So most of what we have in Sierra Leone is more residential and commercial with a few interior designing opportunities. Many of green architecture is very minimal, urban design is very low, town and country planning is not very high. There's a lot of underdevelopment, which gives us the room for opportunity. If we can pick this up and be able to design such that we can grow into it, those who will pick that road will be hotcake, because then everybody, because it brings a need, it meets a need, everybody will want to, and that is what it is. When there are needs, those who meet the needs are those who are rewarded. The opportunity is just being prepared for a need that is available. I trust that it will help us.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together. If you need anyone that wants to pursue a career in architecture, you can. I think you have got a lot of information on that. Okay, we want to continue with our question. I want to move to Omi. Yes, ma'am, please, 2 minutes. Just briefly highlight the areas of specialization and opportunities in teaching, lecturing.
I want to start with the opportunity part. The teaching or lecturing career has a lot of opportunities now on two levels. On the first level, there is a dire need for trained and qualified teachers. We lack them. That's a big opportunity. We do not have trained and qualified teachers. Another aspect to it is we do not have teachers with integrity. And I'm sorry I'm saying it, but it is the fact and we know what I am talking about. In that regard, it would please us and it would do the education sector well if we have many more teachers who are teaching, not for the sake of it, not using it as a stepping stone, but teaching because they want to make a difference. They are trained to teach, they are qualified to teach, and they teach because they want to educate. They want to educate the next generation. On the other level, there's the opportunity, and then there are opportunities again for people with integrity. We all know what is happening now. Teaching is, don't even know how I want to describe it, but many people look at it as an opportunity to make quick money. Even in teaching, you take money for assignments, you take money for tests, you compromise examinations, you compromise results, you give grades. It's a sad state of affairs. We're looking for people who would be honest in what they're doing so that they do not compromise. It's not a matter of making quick money, but it is an opportunity, the fertile ground for growth and development. So what are that is the opportunity, right? What is the other one?
Areas of specialization.
Areas of specialization. We enter 3 levels, okay? But there is first the teacher in the school system. All teachers, they enter as assistant teachers. And they rise through the rank, years of service, dedication, etc. And with some added professional development, they rise to become a teacher, a substantive teacher. After that, with hard work, dedication, and professional development, you can become a senior teacher. A senior teacher is you have a supervisory kind of role. And added to that, there is a head of department in the school system. You may head the English department or the science department or the maths department. Again, your role in that regard is mentoring and supervising the activity, teaching and learning process. You may rise up to become a vice principal, you may rise up to become a principal. So that is order in the school system. With lecturing, you also enter as a lecturer, an assistant. So you can, let me not say an assistant lecturer. It is lecturer 2. That is the level of X. When you, in order for you to be promoted to lecturer 1, you would have to have gotten years of service added to that, again, dedication and commitment and hard work. And you should have contributed by way of publication or something for you to enter to become lecturer 1. Lecturer 1, after lecturer 1, you have a senior lecturer position. For you to get to the senior lecturer position, you also should have published something, an article, a book, or something, and you should have gotten another. Now, many lecturers enter with a master's. You can, maybe in the teacher training college, enter with a first degree, or in the university, you enter with a master's. And if you want to become a lecturer 1 or senior lecturer, you have to have got a doctorate, the terminal. You have a PhD, and then you enter that level. When you have a PhD, depending on the number of published publications you have done, written books, articles, etc., and you should have been administrator in some sort, being supervised, play the supervisory role of some sort, then you will become a senior lecturer or a head of department and the like. Again, you continue in the line of commitment and professional development, you will become head of institution or head of campus, etc. Those are the various ranks that you rise.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So we see so many opportunities in the teaching and the sector in here. Thank you very much, ma'am. We want to move to our doctor. Doctor, please just briefly explain to us in 2 minutes time the areas of specialization
Yes, thank you very much. It's really challenging to explain all the areas of specialization in 2 minutes. But summary, there is a treatment arm of medicine and there's a preventive arm. So let's take it down those lines. The preventive arm, as Mr. Sani was saying, that's public health. So we have doctors who are public health specialists. They more into prevention, several ways, and they take the lead in policy and national policy, as well as they also take the lead when there's a pandemic, etc. But we have the clinical and specialty. Those are the ones you encounter most of the time. That is, you can specialize in treating diseases without operation. That is what we call physician and a physician. You can also specialize in treating by operation. That is what we call surgery. So this includes general surgery, bone specialists, gynae. These are all duties by doing surgery. And if you don't want to see patients, you can still be a doctor. We have doctors who don't need to see patients. We have laboratory specialists. They specialize in laboratory sciences and they don't necessarily have to see patients. Time will fail me to explain the different types of laboratory specialties. We also have doctors who specialize in imaging, different types of scans, X-rays. There are a whole lot of specialties, right? And we also have doctors who don't want to see patients, they don't want hospital. You can specialize in health informatics, right? Okay, moving on to opportunities in medicine, we have the civil service, as said by Mr. Sandy. We all got enrolled into the civil service and we are given what we call big, a very beautiful number related to your salary. And we also, you can work, some doctors work for NGOs. For example, a lot of my colleagues, pediatricians, they work for UNICEF, they are part of the UNICEF Special Care and Baby Units program, and they are paid thousands of dollars. Anyway, they have also worked for UNFPA, a whole lot of opportunities in the private sector. And if you don't want to work for somebody, you are tired of someone telling you, we need this done, we need deadlines. You can work private as a medical doctor, you can practice as a private practitioner. And we also see the way things are going now in the country, the economy is getting, and the loans is becoming, is losing its meaning. So with medicine, you can work abroad easily and you can get your visa on time. Anyway, I want to stop here. Let me tell you about something. Doctors are in ranks. Sometimes people just say, doctor, no, we are in grades. When you start your work, you are first and out of visa for 1 year. It's actually 2 years, but the first year is very intensive. You feel that you are being trained. The second year, you are free, and you think that you are really on top of the matter now. So, but in 2 years. After that, you become what we call a medical officer. Medical officers, these are independent doctors. They work, they can work in hospitals anywhere, and they can take appointments anywhere. And then you can decide that, oh, I want to go into specialization. I want to be the doctor, and I should be. In that case, you will enter into specialization, you will sit an exam, and then you will become a registrar. A registrar, that is your first step in training to be a specialist. After you finish your period, it usually lasts between 2 to 3 years if you're in training. After that, you will do an exam and you pass and you become a senior registrar. A senior registrar is also called a specialist. That is, if you are not in a program, you stop the training, you say, what, no, I'm tired of this training. I want to practice on my own. So you are a specialist or senior registrar. But that is not the end. You can move on to be a consultant. So that makes you an authority in the subject matter. Someone like me is a consultant. So you do another training again and you sub-specialize or strengthen your specialist field. And then you are turned a consultant in that field. You are an expert or an authority. And we know that mediocrity is not a native of a nation. So therefore, I urge you all to go to the peak. Don't stay where you are. Always look at the peak. Thanks.
Very much, Doctor. Thank you so much. So we see that there are many opportunities, but it is only for those who have prepared for it. So Christianity is not synonymous with mediocrity. So let us go for it. Let us go for it. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, we want to give our lawyer opportunity to explain to us the areas of application and also the opportunities.
Okay. When you it's complicated. When you leave law school, when you are called to the bar, okay, as a lawyer in Sierra Leone, you could choose to practice. Okay, when you leave FBC, let me start from there. You could choose to practice or not to practice. If you choose not to practice, you don't need to go to law school. You could continue by becoming an academic in the legal profession. So you move on to your master's, your PhD, but along the line, you have to be writing essays, books in your area of knowledge, your area of expertise. You could also choose to continue into the international field. So you could become an international lawyer. So you could move from FBC and do international law and choose that you don't want to work in Sierra Leone, you find an international organization to work for. You don't need to go to court, you don't need to practice. Okay, so you could branch into UN or WH, any organization actually would need a lawyer. So you could branch into that if you have the necessary expertise. So it's not just about reading law. Some people, some people would have a first degree, let's say first degree in economics. You could choose that, okay, I want to work as a lawyer for, what is it now, World Bank, that sort of thing. So that's one area. If you decide that you want to practice like I do, you have to go to law school in Sierra Leone. Even if you have qualified as a lawyer in any other country, you have to go to law school in Sierra Leone. And if you have practiced as a barrister and solicitor in another country that has a similar system to Sierra Leone for at least 10 years, then you could just branch in directly to UK. If not, if you haven't done 10 years in another country as a practicing barrister, you have to go to law school in Sierra Leone. So after law school in Sierra Leone, you do what we call pupillage. And pupillage, depending if you choose to go to the public sector, that is, do your pupillage as law officers department, you do 18 months, 18 months. Okay, if you choose to go into the private sector, that is, do your pupillage under a private practitioner, you do 12 months. Now, when you do it for 18 months at the law officers department, you are already an employee of the government. You are in the civil service. So you can go immediately to the High Court or any court that is telling you to work in, or you could be involved in anything at that stage. But if you're in the private sector, you have to wait for the first 6 months before you can have audience in the High Court. That's before you can speak and the judge listens to you in the High Court. Before then, you would only have audience in the magistrate court. And then even if then, at 6 months, you only do what we call miscellaneous applications. So it's not a high profile cases where you come and like argue with another lawyer. Basically, this would be like you going to court and saying, I applied for bail for my client, for instance. The magistrate refused it. Can you, the judge, give me bail instead? It's those kind of applications. And during that period of pupillage, you are not expected to be paid. So your pupil master will decide what he or she is going to be giving you. And at the end of your pupillage, and at that point, you're not called a lawyer master. You're a pupil barrister. Okay? And after that, you get to sign, when you are called to the bar after law school, you sign the temporary register of barristers. And after the pupillage, you have to go through a process at the end of which you will sign the permanent register. Because during your pupillage, lawyers are expected to be observing you. At the end of which your pupil master will have to write a recommendation for you to the General Legal Council. And they are going to ask the quote and unquote general public made up of lawyers and lay people to comment on you. So if, for instance, they put out the notice and say, well, Gilo Kaiwo has fulfilled the requirements to be a full-fledged barrister of the High Court of Sierra Leone, kindly send in any objections to Gilo Kaiwo being called. I mean, being given the being allowed to come fully into the profession, then you are allowed to do it. You could come up and say, well, Gilo Kaiwo is rude, or she doesn't portray behavior worthy of the lawyers, etc. And they will consider all of that. So you could go through all of that and still not be called that solution. Okay, but generally speaking, our areas of specialization in Sierra Leone is criminal law and civil law. With criminal law, it's easy. You could either be a private practitioner who only deals in criminal cases, robbery, armed robbery, treason, whatever, okay, murder. Or you could work for the law officers department as a prosecutor, or you could work at the Anti-Corruption Commission as a prosecutor. So when I started in this profession, I started in that law. But okay, and you could also in law officers department, you also have the civil law, where you do civil law. You have another aspect which is drafting, where you are the people who work with the parliamentarians here, to have our laws. And you also have another arm which is there's drafting, there's civil law, there's commercial and international division. They are all civil, practitioners. Commercial, basically, you're into all these commercial contracts and all of that. All these investors that come necessarily work. And international division, go out, ECOWAS, AU, that's basically your area. Okay. But then there's also the private arm of civil practice. So you could choose to be private practitioner, work in a law firm. You could choose to work in a bank. You could choose to work in an institution. Okay, so yes, you could choose to work in an institution. You could choose to work with an NGO. Okay, your focus is more or less human rights law. You could choose to be an arbitrator. Now, arbitration is like the new thing now in the legal profession. So you don't necessarily go to court, but when people have their disputes, they come to you and you arbitrate on the matter. So you could be an arbitrator and side arms of arbitration and mediation and negotiation. So there are all things that you could do and you could specialize in.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. So put your hands together. Paying attention closely. I know many of us, many people want to pursue a career in the law. Yes, we have learned a lot. Okay, we want to come to the last question. It's going to be a summary. But before that, I want to ask all participants, those that want to ask questions, you can guide them and submit your questions so that the panelists will answer those questions accordingly. Okay, in just one single sentence, please, what would be your advice to any participants here that want to pursue a career in your field? I will start with Resma, our lawyer.
I would say, have God with you and work hard.
Thank you very much. Put your hands together.
Yes, summarizing it, we are Christians, and as the lawyer rightly said, he led. In addition, after being led, he committed, because we are now with students, they don't even come to classes. But this year, we sent a lot of people out of example, not meeting the 25% requirement at College of Medicine. So be committed and also remain undistracted. Sometimes we have too many things we are looking as young people to achieve everything together because we have the energy. But please, pour everything you have into that area, remain undistracted. And lastly, passion. Be passionate about what you do. Because I've realized that we have passion here. And then people don't get to put everything into what they do. And before I hand over the mic, there's something you should take note of. You might want to do law, you might want to do medicine or any area, and you enter the course, and it's looking too difficult for you. Please, your destiny is not in any course. Your destiny is with you. So if you think that you cannot, don't kill yourself. Don't go into depression or anxiety or whatever it is. Switch over to something you can do. Your destiny and your greatness might be hidden in what you didn't want to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, ma'am. One seat, please.
Okay. In choosing a career, in choosing what you want to do for life, the two former speakers have said it. Choose what you want to do. I'm going to add to that. Do not be swayed into doing something you do not want to do, even if your parents say you must do it. Do what is your passion. I have a theme I always like my students to write on, and it is called passion to portfolio. You get what that means? Passion to portfolio, meaning you use what it is in you, what you like, what you want, what you enjoy doing, and you make a portfolio of it. In other words, make your career out of it, make it where your breadbasket. You get that? So don't be swayed. We have seen many misfits, people who want to do something because their friends are doing it, people who want to do something because their parents say you must do that. I know the Bible says obey your parents, but as you are getting into adulthood, you can have a negotiation about what you want to do. You get it? Do what is in you. Do what you're passionate about. Madam Fredrika here, for instance, she told you she had a degree in economics, not so? But you see how wonderfully well she is doing with her passion, not so? Pursue your passion. Do not let anybody tell you different. If it is, some of us became a teacher because we like to talk. We like to instruct people. That is what we do best. If that is what is in you, don't be swayed about seeing, there is no money in teaching. Don't let anybody tell you that. You will become prosperous, you will become successful in what you do, committedly, with integrity, and with hard work and diligence.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Put your hands together.
Thank you. Well, I'll just say that it's not all different, but find your life's purpose, okay, and be faithful and honest to do it well. Don't just look for money. Find your life's purpose. Be faithful at doing it. Wherever you are, people will look for you. Okay, and I trust that you do well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Put your hands together.
I believe you and I acknowledge that God is the master designer. He created you and I in the image and likeness. So if you have the spirit of God in you, you are a creative person. Every creative person has the deposit of that spirit in him or her. And when they were building the temple, God asked them to look for a man to design the clothes. He told them, I have put my spirit upon that man. And that is what I know is upon me. As early as age 5, I had started making clothes for dogs. But I never knew that was my area of polish. I went my own way, followed my friends, did what I shouldn't do. But I knew from time where I was a creative person. So if you pray about me, identify your skill, you will hone your skill, and then you will excel in your skill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I think I will just end with what the designer said. God created us. At the end of the day, we need to come and matter of it. Malachi 3:18 says, then shall he be done and stand between the righteous, in him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. So when you are in whatever area that you see, just remember that the Lord who created you, who designed you, has made you for purpose. And when you go there, You are not serving your own purpose in your office. You are serving his purpose in your office. So if you have that mind in you, I'm telling you, there's no way that is able to fight against the purpose of God in you, in your career. So that is my concluding word. Whatever career you choose, just know that God has created you for that, and He is coming to examine you, or He's coming to grade you, whether you actually serve Him or whether you. And I believe He will come and meet us all serving Him. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makusadi. If you want to go to the questions here for panelists, and basically start with panelists that have only one question. First, time. I encourage us to just utilize 2 minutes maximum to answer this question. Somebody is asking, what is the objective and the aims and objectives of the civil service? That's again, is civil service, the civil services, all walks of life. Then another person here is asking, how can one be inspired as a youth to become, okay, I think this is what the question. So in the civil service, your main objective really is to give a public service to the people. Or to put it in real, you are a servant. You are not a god. Okay? You can be more public, but just that you are serving the people. Your main role is to solve problems, to ensure that, in fact, if you look at the purpose of civil service, it's really what God created man to do from Genesis. He placed off a big garden, to water garden, to keep it, to dress it, to take care of it. So that is really the purpose of civil service. That is really the objective. And you ask the next thing about youth. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Put your hands together. There's a question here. Somebody said, how can one be inspired to be how can one to be inspired to become an architect?
Well, how can one be inspired to be an architect? As a youth, well, growing up, I have enjoyed maths, I have enjoyed drawing, I have enjoyed building. Okay, so it's one of my foundations from which I pursued what I did. And it's important if you have the heart and desire to provide special needs, or you notice that there's a space that is used, but it doesn't fit the function. And you are concerned about it, you need to start to think about pursuing that, because then you will provide need for people who will really pay you for what you do. And so it's important. Secondly, it's also important that you do an assessment of yourself. Okay. A lot of times people like defending people. If they are normal day, everyday chat, you want to defend people. It's likely you will be a lawyer. If you are not very, very passionate about people dying, don't go into medicine, because you will not be able to save them well enough. So in the same way, you have to assess yourself. Okay, if you think you want to provide space, when you see buildings, you are fascinated. It's when you look at how people are living in slums, you are worried. It means you have that desire to try and meet needs of people who need spaces. And that will help to pick up from where you are and pursue and take that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Put your hands together.
Thank you.
Want to ask the next question? The next, we'll start from the team. I'm going to just quickly answer those questions in 2 minutes. So, guys,
The questions I've seen here, I can't do them in 2 minutes. Bear with me. Please, I'll be fast. Okay, so I've tried to divide the questions into 3 categories. Okay, so I'll just go through them quickly. The first question, I want to study law, but I don't know how much years I would take to study. So can you please tell me how many years I would take? So, 4 years at FBC. I know it's also 4 years at Unima, and I'm sure it's 4 years at Jala. Then you do about 9 months at law school. That is for you to sit to the exam and pass the Sierra Leone exam. Then afterwards, you do, I'm answering that other part as well because somebody else asked that question. Afterwards, you do 1 year if you want to go into the private sector as a pupil, or 1 year, 6 months if you want to work in the public sector for the government of Sierra Leone. And after that, it is only after that that you will be allowed, when you have completed one of those, whether public or private, that you will be allowed to sign the permanent register. So if my math is correct, I'm a math student, sorry, we're talking about 5, if you include law school and pupillage, you're talking about 7 years if you want to go in the private sector, and about 7 years, 6 months if you want to go into the public sector. Huh?
yes.
Yes, so that's about it. Okay. Somebody else is saying, my desire is to study law, but I don't have the required credit at English language. If you don't have it, go to something else. Because I will tell you that English is the language of the courts. English is your tool when you're writing letters. English is your tool when you're doing contracts. Whatever you're doing, that is what you're going to use, English. So if you have not been able to get the requirements for English, either work hard to make that requirement. But I will say to you, if English is not your thing, don't waste your time. Do something else. There are other things that you can do that we don't need English for. But then make sure you get English. Because, I mean, you can win and lose a case just because you spoke or didn't speak good English. Okay? And when I was talking about getting to the law, there is also London School of Economics. So you don't need to go to FBC or Chala or Unima. You can do 3 years online studying law, but then you have to go to law school and do your PhD. Okay. Yes, University of London, sorry. I study international relations at Milton Magai. Anyway, Milton Magai Teachers University, I think. Diploma level, and I want to read law. I have 5 credits, but no English, and I have already started to the previous class. Like I said, you need English. So if you don't have English, you work on English. And or if you can't have English, do something else. FPC and Unima, which is the best university to study law, and what is their core? I don't know which is the best university because, I mean, Unima has had like the best pupil before. FPC has had the best pupil. I say just do your thing and come out as best as you can. I don't know what the cost are because we would have moved. When I was at FPC, I paid 4,000,000 now in those days. And I know, and at law school, I paid 11,000 in those days. I know costs have gone up. You will have to find that out from the various colleges yourself. What's the exact years? Okay, basically, I think this person is trying to ask, how long do you study law for if you have got a first degree? Basically the same thing. Here in Sierra Leone, people tell you I've done a first degree, I want to reach my first year. I don't subscribe to that. I think it's wrong because if you're going into law, it's totally different from what you did at first degree. But sometimes some universities give you an exemption, so you don't do the first year. So I said 7 and 6 months minus 1 year. That would be your. Somebody is asking what are the possibilities for people who want to pursue law? I think I said it. You're either going to criminal or civil law, and you have different branches. Anything that you can think of, there is law for that area. So in sports, you have sports law. Music, you have entertainment law. But even fashion, you have fashion law. Even the architects, because their contracts, they need a lawyer. Even the civil. So I tell people that just like you need a doctor, that is how you need a lawyer. And if you don't go to the lawyer when you need to go to the lawyer, my dear, when you have the issues, you would pay us. You would pay. And then the person is also asking what's the difference between a prosecutor, barrister, solicitor. Generally speaking, solicitor does all the paperwork, conveyances, letters, contracts. Barrister goes to court and talks in court. Prosecutor is the one who works on behalf of the government. So he takes bad people or people who we say have done something bad to court, because anything you do bad in Sierra Leone is considered to be done against the government of Sierra Leone. So since the whole government cannot take you to court, that one person, the prosecutor, will take you to court on behalf of the government. When I was talking about opportunities, I considered only the lawyers, but don't forget, you could end up being a judge, a magistrate, but for those ones, you have to have practiced for a number of years. You could also be a registrar. Okay, but for all of those, you have to have practiced for a number of years. I have questions that are based on my opinion, and I'll read. Ma, as a servant of God, or God-fearing person, having passion to study law, can it be possible in this country, Sierra Leone, without turning face against people on their rights? Can you become rich as a servant of God and also a lawyer in Sierra Leone or the world? I want to know if a lawyer can make it to heaven.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Let me tell you something. I am a lawyer, and my everyday purpose is to make sure I make it to heaven. So you have your Bible and you have your relationship with God. And when you practice as a lawyer, whether you're a judge or whatever, those are the principles your Bible should guide you. I've had instances when people have come to me, they've told me to write a letter and evict people from a place. And I said to them, bring the title documents, the Osbook, what we call Osbook, to show that you are the owner of the property before I write my letter. And they have done. Yes, they went away with their money. I lost that money, but I did not lose the principle. I have had instances where people have come to me. I mean, recently, I was dealing with somebody's property, but I do know property law. And the person said to me, oh, I want to lease this property. But to be sure that you give me the property because there were tenants there, give me the person's title documents. Definitely, I can't do that. So I would say to you, just like every other profession, it's the Bible that guides your work. It's the Bible that tells you what to do. Okay, so you allow the Bible to guide you. And definitely, you will make money. Okay? Just like any other profession, Making money is not just about charging huge fees. It's about also your management of money. Because you can charge a lot of money, but if you don't manage it well, you'll still be poor. I'm sure our fashion designer here is very rich because I know a lot of people who make clothes at her place. So it's not just about the profession. And we are asking whether in Sierra Leone it is possible for you to do your case without it being, manipulated. I will say to you, you have God, you pray to God, you prepare your case, and you go to court. Definitely, there will be people out there who think they have to brag. And the way the culture is in Sierra Leone, even when it's not right, just because you did not teach somebody, they would want to manipulate your case to teach you a lesson. Okay? But it is possible. You just have to be ready to spend some time in court to make your case, because sometimes they will just create unnecessary delay, and you would find yourself going to court adjournment upon adjournment without making any progress. Okay, I was late because there is something I've been working on since before election, and every time I go to the Ministry of Lands, they are finding some excuse not to do the things. Yesterday they gave me a call yesterday to say come tomorrow morning. I've been there all morning. Yes, but finally, because I was there and I was persistent, we ended up going to where they needed to go, and I got what I wanted. So you can, okay? To be an excellent lawyer like you are now, what must you be good at? I'm still trying to be a good lawyer. I take it with humility. I don't think I'm there yet. I also make mistakes. But I think, like I say, you have to know your law. So you have to be ready to do a lot of reading, a lot of research. You don't just jump up and go to court. Do your research, know what you're doing. Don't get up and just write a letter. Do your research, know what you're doing, and have God on your side. Okay? It's not a difficult course to study. Well, I loved what I was doing, so I didn't see it's difficult. But yes, we have big books, and that is an area where you read until you die. My landlord, where my office is 83 years old. He still comes to the office. He still works, and he still does his research. I've had opportunities, situations where I've asked him questions, or have you been faced with this situation? And he would tell me, Ms. Kaiwo, I've never dealt with something like that before. So it's an area where you have to keep on reading till you die. Yes. What does it mean and take to become a Christian and a lawyer and a Christian lawyer? You can't divorce the two. If you're a Christian and you're practicing law, you have to use your Christian principles in what you're doing. Can a born again be a lawyer? Yes, because I am a born again. At least I know I have a relationship with God, and I know I'm working and striving towards it. How many types of lawyers do we have in Sierra Leone? You have private practitioners, you have government lawyers who are in the public sector. You have those who work with the bank. You have company secretaries. You have people who never set their feet, go to court, but they are working very well. Some people are just into buying and selling. Some work in companies, etc. I hope I've answered all the questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Just quick question. What's the maximum year in pursuing medicine? It depends on your point of entry. If you enter at one level, you are going to spend 8 years to do the course, provided you pass every year. But passing is not guaranteed. And then, if you enter at Unit 2, you use your 7 years that people talk about. But actually, medicine is a 6-year course. It is 6 years. Year 1 to year 6. It's 6 years. It
because your first year, second year, after which you do the first professional exam, to third year, second professional exam, fourth year, professional exam, and then fifth year, final one, sixth year. So the program is 6 years. But how long will it take depends on the point at which you enter. Okay, next question. Please, doctor, what is your take on abortion, the medical profession? Okay, and to make it short, yes, abortion. I don't know what you are talking about. Because in medicine, we have what we call abortion as a topic. And it's different from what you are talking about. We have what we call induced or therapeutic abortion. And then we have spontaneous abortions. Spontaneous, that means the woman is for whatever reason, developed well. She lost the pregnancy and she comes into the hospital. You have to do a dilatation and fluid charge to clean out. Otherwise, she will fall sick and die. Few days if that is not done. What we are talking about is someone designing to destroy a pregnancy. That's what we are talking about. It is wrong. Absolutely wrong for a Christian to participate in that. I think the lawyer will help out with the laws about that. But as far as I know, it was still illegal in Sierra Leone. But there was a time it's been passed.
Well, we have I forgot the full name, but the Maternity Something Act that has been passed. And according to the law, it provides for abortion in certain circumstances. Now, the doctor here will tell you that I think this pregnancy happens to ectopic. I think for ectopic pregnancy, I mean, there are certain pregnancies that can end up in the death of the mother. And so if it's identified early, when early in her term, they could do an abortion to save her life. So that is one circumstance in which abortion is allowed. The truth is, I was aware of what was in the previous bill, and there was an outcry, but I didn't read through the new one that was passed, but I know that is one area that is allowed. So I don't know if the other areas were also allowed, because the other areas had to do with in the case of rape and something else. But I'll talk about the situation where the mother dies, because that's what I know everybody, that it was consensus that they should allow it. So.
Okay, so designing to terminate a pregnancy for no reason, reason, it's a thing. Let's put it clear, and here we stand on the word of God. However, in practicing medicine, there are situations, as she said, ectopic pregnancy is one, but there are times, let's say, there was one time I went to see a patient, not in this country, 51-year-old woman trying to give birth, twin pregnancy, came down with complications of kidney failure, severely elevated blood pressure, protein in the urine, all typical liver dysfunction, all sorts of complications. If we allow that pregnancy to continue, we are going to lose both mother and baby. So these are situations in which we will have to be discretionary to save the mother's life. But definitely, there are also situations. There was another lady I attended to, not here. She was pregnant, about 28 weeks, and she had background kidney failure. And it was so bad that we had to tell her that we need to terminate this pregnancy. And the wedding was the next day. We said, you have to terminate this pregnancy. Go for the wedding, and then you come and sort out the kidney failure. She refused. What she did was, she went, of course, we can give them power. Once we have a very important social function, can give you power. So we gave her power to our wedding. She went for the wedding and came back with a pregnancy, and a few days later, she died from pregnancy-related complication. So it's really a personal issue, full of controversy. But immediate abortion is wrong. But definitely, there are situations in which you have to use your discretion. Let's say you are married for 10 years, you have 2 children, and there was one lady, she was 38 or 39. She came to me in church, and she has vascular entities, but the back is so small that she can read fairly well, but there's a problem with the heart. Dr. Coker, I want to give back again. I said, madam, we have three boys. Please, if you go that way, don't call me. I'm not interested. Because she had, okay, what if she didn't come to me and I give her that advice and she got pregnant? Then the gynecologist will tell you that, madam, you don't need a child. You already have. If you take this child to town and give birth to this fourth child, she's going to have that cure that will require surgery, raising funds for her, and then she might die in the process. So it has to be discretionary. Now, taking the next one, is it possible to head a hospital without any medical background? Sure. If you have the capital, you can set up a hospital. Those who own church camp, they are not doctors. You know, they are supermarkets and on the street. They are not doctors, they are Indians. Please, you don't need to be a doctor to run the hospital. You only need to have capital, and then you can go to necessary things that you need to put in with the medical and dental council. How do I start a pharmacy business without a medical background? You can actually start a business, definitely a pharmacy business, but you will need a pharmacist and a pharmacy technician. You need to employ them, and they will also help you with regards to getting a license. Last question: why some medical doctors put medicals instead of them to save life? Let me tell you something. Healthcare should be paid for. Let's get it clear. You should pay for healthcare. It's not free. If you go to the hospital, many of the hospitals have not received allocation from government for maybe 9 months or 1 year. They are able to get things to treat you. You have to go and buy them. So to private facility, you have to pay for healthcare. Let's change our opinion. Let's change our mindset. Healthcare should be paid for. It is not a humanitarian job. You go to school, it's a profession. Just like the way you pay for contractors, you pay for lawyers, you pay to see doctors as well. Everything has to be paid for.
Thank you so much. We are almost running out. I hope you are paying attention and you are taking notes. We want to move to the next phase.
I have 4 or 5 questions. The first one. Why are teachers with degree lowly paid compared to other professions that have the same degree as that of a teacher? Why are they paid? I'm thinking that this question means that teachers are not highly paid. Why are they not highly paid? I do not have the answer. Do I have the answer? I don't have the answer. You know, there are things that have been like that. If some people are highly paid, other people are not highly paid. And I think that is one reason that is discouraging many people from becoming professional teachers. And that is one reason why people just go into the job, and as soon as they get a better paid job, they leave. Am I answering your question? I don't have the question. I don't have the answer. It is not like that. But if, please, added to that, I would like to say, if you think that you have the passion for teaching, if you want to be a teacher, if you think that you are making a difference in somebody's life, please do that. Please teach. Life is not about money. Being successful is not about money. You can have, since I am talking in parable, but money is not everything. So many years ago, somebody said that to me, and it is still with me. And I value that exact saying so much. Money is not everything. You can become successful, you can become prosperous without money. Next question. And if someone graduates with a BA in nutrition, can you work as a lecturer? Definitely yes. Can you also work in a non-educational facility? Yes, like the hospital, yes, because you have studied nutrition. Can you work with the agent or child care? Yes, I am thinking so. But it depends on the agency that you're seeking employment from, they will give you their requirements. But I think with a degree in nutrition, you can work in any of these related fields. Next question. Why do teachers take money? Oh, this person has said, why do teachers make money on our heads? Why the people don't understand? Oh, I'm not getting it. And why, yes, why do teachers not answer our question? Why do teachers give us assignments and they say, that the assignment is wrong? Anyway, so somebody is asking about this community that the person is venting out his or her frustration about teaching profession. Yes, this is what happens now. We have teachers taking money for assignments, teachers not making money on your head, sending their notes. This happens. What do we do? Sadly, there's a lot of compromise from a lot of reasons are contributing to this. Now, if we want to lay blame or cast blame, we can begin right from the top and go to the bottom. People leave college. They have got their degrees. They go into the field to teach. They are not given the field. Some people go on for 7 years, 10 years, 5 years without pay salary from the government. How do you expect that teacher to live day to day? When I was teaching here, we usually give them stipend every month. Tell me, can that be enough? No. So I am not making excuses, but that may be a reason. Somebody has finished college and starts working and he has a family, he has to eat, he has to pay transportation. I am thinking that this compromise may start from that top. They may start to make money from lessons, from tax the people they teach so that they can have transportation. I am not saying it is right. I am only saying that may be a possibility. Another thing, lack of integrity. Some people are not committed. They see that they have students and they should use them. It is happening all the time. They make money out of their students. It is not by any means right. But I am also saying that happens because some people are not honest and they lack integrity. Am I answering your question? Okay. What I normally say is, do not yield to that. It may be difficult if a teacher comes to a class of 50 and say everybody should pay for a test, and you don't stand up and say you do not pay. It can jump. You can stand up for what you believe in and not subscribe to what is going on. You can stand up and be different and not contribute to the malpractice or cheating or lack of integrity that is going on. Okay, is it an easy task to be a teacher? Yes and no. It is not an easy task to be a teacher because if you want to be a good teacher, if you want to be an effective teacher, you are going to have to prepare. You are going to prepare your lessons well because you want to be effective. You are going to mark books, you are going to do assessment, you are going to do evaluation, you are going to teach, and it is not easy in that regard. But if you are committed to it and you enjoy doing it, you will look at it as a task you have to perform and you will carry it out. I want to encourage you, if you want to be a teacher, please do not be just an ordinary teacher, a teacher who is not committed, who does not work hard. Teaching is hard work, and you do not have to compromise for you to be successful.
Thank you very much, Mark. Put your head together. Put your head together. Okay, we'll come to the last question.
The first question I have is, when you go to decide what you become, that will depend on what you want to become. Because like I told you, there are various branches in the fashion industry where you can specialize. But like any other profession, you can do the general processes to actualize your creativity or your images. But speciality depends on what you want to produce. If you want to get garments, if you want to get clothes, then you must know how to stitch pieces of fabric together. Want to make a food here, then you have to know about the human anatomy, how to make shoes that are comfortable, get materials and how to stitch them. So that will depend on what you want to do. But the first thing is expressing your creativity image and learning the process of making it a reality or making it a product. And then the question of advantages and disadvantages of being a fashion designer. I'm sure you have been taught about entrepreneurship, and that is what most young people know. When we started, entrepreneurship was for people who were workers. It was a daring move for me from the former setting, follow my passion. I faced a lot of opposition, but I stood firm and followed my heart. But now entrepreneurship, we see now a lot of focus on entrepreneurship. And you know the game, and then you will solve the problem for, you will solve the problem for what? What will you get in return? When you solve the problem, what do you get in return? So that means you will get money to work, to set up your own business, or when you work for somebody. For other developers, as a fashion designer, you will make as much as $50,000 a year. So that is not the case in this part of the world, but I believe you will get there someday. And there are some disadvantages too. You will own your own business, but it is a lot of hard work. You have to put in all your best for you to be on top of your game all the time. You have to be constantly creative. Just like the lawyer said, when we don't visit the lawyer, we will have to come back to you someday. There is a threat of you having your design stolen from you. And that is why you will need a lawyer. When you say something is yours, how can you own it? And that is one of the advantage of creativity. You come up with something, and then the next moment you see it all over the place, and you're not being set for your idea. You have different nights thinking of something. You have the concept, you put it down, you make it follow up, and then you have all types of pollination all over. And that is what you want as creative, and the government representative is here. We want policies and issues for creating in their own. That is what is disadvantage, and I'm sure they will solve it very soon. And this person asks, can you be a big designer? A big designer in what sense? In terms of delivery, honesty, or the circle of people you create for. But if I can lead your thoughts, maybe if you can be somebody who will design clothes that have good morale. Yes, you can. Know your circle, know the people you want to create for. And you have the Bible to guide you. And then If I want to be a designer, where can I do it? There is Bluegrass College. I work in Simone, there is Milton Magai University, and there are many technical and professional institutes. Unfortunately, the economy is going, and so it's going here, and I'm sure they will have a lot of professional centers where you get paid. You can go to one of these places, the professional that has been in existence for quite some time. It is dedication, yes, it is difficult, it's dedication, it's concentration, and it is rewarding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Put your hands together for our panel. We have come to the end of this very important area talk. I know you have learned a lot. And our prayer for you is that the Lord Himself will guide you as you pursue the different areas in Jesus' name. Okay, I think we have some gifts that they are going to present to our various panelists. So at this point in time, we follow those people who are going to present the gifts. You can please come quickly as you present the gift accordingly. Please keep quiet. We are not yet done. Our panelists here are very busy. They spare this particular time to talk to us so that we can be enlightened in the area of career that we are going to pursue.
Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation. Now, because of your good work, we have a little bit of presentation for you.
So, legend of the elementary. So, how would you tell people to what you can do? So, we thank you for the same and that you couldn't hear. You know what it means. Would you expect me to hurry and be there? You can't see the way the same for we are learning something. Thank you for the chief. This was.
Together.
I also want to say a big thank you on behalf of the Zion Local Ministries, on behalf of National Delegate, myself, and all the team I say. We are so grateful. You will not know what you have done today, how it meant so much for us, to us. The truth is that over the year, since about 2005, I've been having this career conference. We have been having lots of testimony. Some of the people who have been hearing this thing, some of them now are graduate working. Dr. Kuka, they are grateful. You have been a blessing to us many years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. Also, Mrs. Juno Kalon, remember too, you've been here many years ago, more than 10 years ago. That some who was so challenged. Then she was such a young, intelligent lawyer. Not right at that time. She challenged a lot of young ladies at that time. Thank you so much for being available. And also our dear sister Mommy, Mrs. Michael George. She used to talk about nothing here. Thank you so much. She said, this is the continue. So thank you for a very nice time. Our dear architect, a brother, a missionary, a very brilliant one. I have seen some of his designs. Wow, they are one in town. He helps to design houses for the top, and they are one in town design. Some have not seen them before. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming. My dear sister, Frederica,
I'm so proud of her. She said something that people used to think that those who drop out of school, they are the ones that are involved in vocational work, like tailoring. It's not so. I think America, I'm going to tell you that I have two of my daughters who are trying to be professional in their field. But first thing, they also try to be a tailor. They make clothes for themselves. I only taught one how to make a skirt. That's mommy. Not know they give me money again. I'm so proud of them because they do these things even to make money for themselves. There are times they don't have to ask my pocket money. They make dresses, clothes, even for myself. That's why you don't see me again, no. A customer. So I'm begging you, one of you that advocates, no matter how much degree you have, please I beg you, your hands. Do something also with your hands. The brain. But this hand can also do something that can fetch you money, even as much as your brain is fetching you. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are grateful. And also to our dear brother, Mr. Machikandi, I've got him also. It have been here not twice. These are very, very busy people. He came in from a cabinet meeting. You see, they are very, very busy people. But because of the love of God, and because they trust God, they have faith in God for you. That what God has done in their lives, God can do it in your life and even greater things in your life. And they are really passionate for you. The truth is that it's not everybody that is passionate about the things that concerns youth. There are some that we begged, we pleaded with to be here to help us to talk to you. And they tell us a lot of enthusiasm. So we are grateful. We thank you so much. May God reward you. May God bless your children. May God bless your vocation. And may He take you to a higher height in Jesus' name. And we come to this program and say that one day they will come to you and say, Uncle, Auntie, that day you spoke to us, here am I today. I pray that you will all have that testimony in Jesus' name. We thank you so much for everything.
On behalf of Zion Evangelical Ministry and the youth and young adult care, we want to appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to make a huge impact on us. We want to say thank you, and we pray that the Lord will continue to increase and add to your wisdom to make more impact on others. Thank you very much. From home, I think we call you to pray. Thank you for the Zion Evangelical Ministry and this opportunity to present us with my fellow judge. We say thank you, ma'am, as you present us as a teacher. And you're going to learn us and teach us how to become a perfect teacher. We say thank you. God bless you. God increase.
That's a lot. We also presented this to what was in back in chapter. So it was thank you so much for being in the challenge to be distinguished. You can also decide on the children of the ministry. In the whole existence, in other words, to say thank you very much for taking the the work is to say that and all the this becomes very important to say thank you for your time. Actually, that is correct. we are really frustrated. But the youth and teenagers want to serve. We hope to put this information into practice. Which leaders know by the time of the population. We pray that the Lord will help us. On behalf of Zion Evangelical Ministry, 2023 youth, and then on Sharon and Blood, it will be very good.
Once more,